700,000 people throughout Northwest Harris County depend on these first responders to protect them. The paramedics, the firefighters of ESD9. But now it's some of those very same people we depend on who have their own emergency.
I'm disgusted with the actions, the half-truths, and the blatant lies perpetuated by the fire chief and her executive staff.
We're investigating widespread complaints of possible civil rights violations at ESD9.
Retaliation, intimidation, violation of labor laws, and it needs to stop.
Even alleged discrimination against female first responders who simply needed a private place to breastfeed after the birth of their children. I'm not kidding.
I have never been a person that experiences anxiety. This has brought me to my knees.
We expose complaints ESD9 is a toxic workplace.
You're destroying people's lives for your own benefit instead of being a decent human being.
And has tried to cover it up for years.
It's just not fair. At first I was so depressed about it that I was just like, what can I do? I'm 63 years old.
Their 911 call to Dolce Fino Media. We battled for first responders before, and the last three numbers of our company phone number,
911 location of your emergency.
911.
Every year, the Texas Fire Chiefs Association chooses a Fire Chief of the Year award. This year, it was our very own Chief Amy Ramone from the Cy-Fair Fire Department.
Chief Amy Ramone was the first woman to win the Texas Fire Chief Award. She's in charge of the largest emergency service district in the entire state of Texas. A $100 million budget, 13 fire stations protecting 164 square miles of Harris County. But the chief could make history again if she ends up getting fired for what she's accused of doing.
The Cy-Fair Fire Chief's job is on the line.
But nobody seems to know why.
The folks who work for Chief Ramone know exactly why she's in some trouble. And as always, taxpayers have been kept in the dark until now. You have a right to know, because a lawsuit may be coming that could cost you upwards of $10 million.
Everybody says, oh, she's Fire Chief of the Year from last year, and they're stuck on that because they're so good at silencing everybody.
Accused of silencing the first responders who complain while hiding their complaints from the elected commissioners of ESD9. Last May, the fire chief told commissioners there was nothing to see here.
I have not had a report on the Ombudsman website since, I believe, 2020.
But in August, the ESD commissioners found out that could be a flat-out lie. Just how many investigations have been going on at the Emergency Service District?
Since the ESD has become the provider, how many investigations have we done, whether it came through Ombudsman or through HR?
45.
45 investigations.
Those 45 is in the process of what period of time?
From 21 to 25.
And that might help explain why the ESD has such a big legal bill, $1 million last year. Look, I've investigated a lot of ESDs, and there's one constant. The lawyers, they're getting rich. Meet Ashley Fitzhenry and her 9-month-old daughter, Co.
I'm an advanced EMT currently. I started the department in 2008 as a volunteer firefighter.
When Ashley got back from maternity leave, she told the ESD she needed a private place to pump breast milk.
I had to sign something that said that I would abide by their rules and that they would abide by federal law, and they did not do that.
Federal law says a lactation room is to be free from view, free from intrusion, private, and lockable. Some of the fire stations weren't doing that, and Ashley told us she often had to pump her breast milk while sitting in a car or in a fire truck. Last March, Ashley says she asked for a private lockable room here at Fire Station 3, but the locks weren't installed until 2 months later, and then for some reason we don't know, they were removed the very next day. you could predict what happened next.
They knocked on the door and immediately opened the door while I was pumping and retreated. They didn't wait for me to say, come in. They didn't wait for me to say anything.
What happened to Ashley has now become some kind of joke within the 500-member department.
Everybody's talking about it. They have a nickname, Boobygate, Tittygate. I was told the other day that I should take a mold of my breast with me pumping and put it at Station 3 and say, home of the Boobygate.
Joy McDonald is a paramedic who is 5 months pregnant, and she's also suffered, she says. A fellow paramedic was insulting women's need for a special room to pump breast milk in the first place.
He was like fixated on the lactation rooms, and he's like, well, oh, it's okay for me to go in the lactation rooms and jack off to get a sperm sample. That is basically the same thing, right?
Joy had another problem. The ESD allegedly forced her to work directly under her ex-husband, a guy she claimed had been physically abusive to her. That was a bright idea. Joy was recently fired. Ashley and Joy have filed formal complaints and legal demands now that include charges of pregnancy discrimination and retaliation.
Like, I don't know what this vendetta is against pregnant women or women that are breastfeeding. It's not a big deal to have an area for these women to pump. I don't understand it.
It's sexualized when it shouldn't be. It drops my supply. So I have a hard time feeding her.
As it stands, we have a dedicated lactation room in every single one of our stations now, with signs that are ordered.
We went to Cy-Fair's Fire Station 5 after Ashley told us there's no lactation room there. Still, their PR guy showed us a place.
This is a lactation room?
Yes, these are officers' quarters, which are used also as lactation rooms.
A paramedic sued the city of Tucson for violating her rights on the job.
The Tucson Fire Department, they paid out nearly $4 million to a paramedic with the very same kind of complaint that Ashley has. Today, about 42% of all paramedics are women. Former ESD9 Commissioner Kevin Sturtzel resigned in April of this year and worries the fire chief could end up costing the district and taxpayers millions of dollars.
This boils down to an incompetent HR function, right? An incompetent fire chief unable to recognize that she has an incompetent HR function. Yeah, these gross violations of federal labor law were preventable.
Attorney Lynn Jurek now represents 6 present and former ESD9 employees.
They're not even following their own guidelines or policies or procedures.
Bubba Justice was an EMS supervisor for Cy-Fair, with the department 21 years. He says his undoing was calling a supervisor for a second opinion on a medical call. Command staff put him through multiple training tests until he failed one.
They actually, when they demoted me 3 levels, which nobody's ever been demoted 3 levels at the fire department before.
Bubba says ESD9 is hiding secrets about patient care.
Unfortunately, we've had people that have done wrong procedures, wrong medication, not done what the right thing to do, and we've actually had people die at Cy-Fair Fire Department. Nobody's ever been demoted for it like I have. And mine was a training, and I didn't hurt a single person.
Lieutenant Jonathan Hedblum ran the ESD9 team assigned to the state mutual aid system. He says ESD9 removed him as team leader after he complained.
When you challenge certain people on the command staff, that the retaliation is real.
After he hired a lawyer, Jonathan says he was retaliated against by Chief Ramon.
At night, the fire chief sent a mass email out to the entire fire department naming me and several other members as having retained legal counsel against the fire department.
It's illegal to share, and they did it to 3 of my claimants.
I think any judge in the land would say that that was a retaliatory act towards the person. It made it obvious who the claimant was.
But the ESD president defends the fire chief, who is also an attorney.
It's definitely not best practice. I can see where her lawyer mind would be to everyone needs to save whatever could be relevant to this.
When deadly floods ravaged central Texas this year, we are told the ESD command staff sent no one to help. Earlier this year, the board hired an outside law firm to investigate these and other employee complaints.
We had to pass a motion to order the department and the command to cooperate with the investigations. They had not been cooperating.
The ESD president defends the command staff.
They give all of their information to their lawyer, and their lawyer was looking through it, holding on to it.
The only way they're going to withdraw their claims against the very people who are the problem is if the board takes action and affects change, particularly with the fire chief.
And I fear that the taxpayers and the rank and file are the ones that are going to suffer the most if due and right action isn't taken soon.
She has had no issues up until this point, and I'm not even sure that these are her issues, or that she was aware of any of them.
We asked the fire chief for an interview on camera, and she told us to call her lawyer. We did. He never called us back.
The fish is rotten from the head down, and until a couple of them are removed, nothing's going to change.
Paramedic Lanisa Wallace has been teaching the required certification classes at the ESD, and she claims the department is forging required documents for the command staff.
I mean, the entire command staff, I guarantee you, has not attended a class in at least the last 3 years that I've been teaching.
But a former ESD9 commissioner is warning you that all these employee problems at ESD9 could affect your safety.
If you're in fear of your job, and if you're in fear of retaliation, and retaliation takes many forms, it certainly could impact your focus and also your, the performance of your duties.
Do they understand that your people are your most valuable asset? It's not the $1 million fire trucks that you buy us. It's the incalculable value of each member of your organization.